Hi guys, my name is Kyle August and I'm going to help you manifest your specific person in the absolute quickest and easiest way possible. Throughout any manifestation process, one of the main questions that I always get asked all the time, and I've talked about in a lot of my videos, is this concept of time. So we have this idea of how long is it going to take my manifestation to come into my life? How long is it going to take my specific person to show up in the exact way that I desire? And like in my other videos I mentioned, it's all about getting into the state, which of course means that we want to take our entire mindset off of time, right? If we're worrying about time, we're worrying about how soon something is going to come into our reality, how could we be feeling as if it is already here? Does that make sense? And I talk about this, like I mentioned, in a bunch of other videos. But there is a certain concept I wanted to discuss today. It's just kind of a mindset change to kind of think of everything slightly differently. So think about this instance. Right now, we think more time, or we feel as though we have this belief that more time has to pass for your specific person to fall in love with you, right? That's like a logical mindset, right? We think time needs to go by. The more time, the quicker or easier it is for our specific person to fall in love with us. And this is the belief that ends up kind of eliminating the possibility of our specific person showing up into our reality tomorrow. Because really, you already have all of your manifestations alive within you at this very moment. So to even say they're near is to say they're too far away. But we still have this belief, right? Like we have this belief we have to take time, we have to go on dates, we have to do all of the generic normal stuff along the way, which is very good. And you will see your bridge of events potentially play out exactly in this way. But a lot of times we can postpone or accidentally create more space in between based on our beliefs. Because if we believe that something is going to take a certain amount of time, how could it ever come sooner, right? That's the belief we're having. And like we know with manifestation, literally there is nothing off limits. You can manifest literally anything. A good example of this idea of time persisting no matter what is the idea of higher education, right? That is pretty stern in our beliefs that you have to go for 2, 4, 6, 8 years before you get your degree. And thinking about changing that kind of challenges our beliefs a lot, right? That kind of really goes against, that belief goes against this idea in manifestation that anything is possible. Because truly anything is possible, but that belief does seem very hard to kind of get rid of. So we might be doing the same thing when it comes to our specific person manifestation. We are still thinking that time needs to pass in order for our specific person to fall in love with us, to go on dates with us, and this and that. But like I mentioned, I'm going to tell you or kind of give you a different point of view that's going to basically change this idea in your mind. So let's take, for instance, let's pretend as if we're leaving this reality. We are now in your specific person's reality, okay? You're going to be thinking from their mindset. Imagine that they are manifesting you, okay? We're switching because really this is your reality. You can have everything you want, but imagine we're in your specific person's reality and they're manifesting you. So what would it take for you to fall in love with them? So if they were manifesting you, what do you think would have to happen for you to fall in love with them? In this instance, and our belief would be, okay, time. But would you say time passing has any impact on you falling in love with your specific person? You would say, well, no, right? Unless something kind of interacts or this bridge of events begins occurring, time doesn't mean anything. So in that case, a day could pass, a week could pass, a month could pass, a year could pass, and nothing's really going to change those emotions. But when the bridge of events begins to take effect and these events happen, you would say, okay, events is what's happening that's making me fall in love with your specific person, right? If they were manifesting you, that's what you feel would need to happen. And you may be thinking, okay, what does this mean? So then this means when we think we can't manifest in a day, who says you can't? All those events, the things that you even mentioned, or we believe if your specific person was manifesting you, you would believe events would draw you to them. Those events have no time frame or have to take any amount of time. It's kind of like the idea of falling in love at first sight, right? Like if you go on a date with your specific person, it could be boom, and then you guys are in love, dating, all this amazing things or all these amazing things are happening. So, right, is this making sense? Is this really like kind of going in your mind and kind of switching this idea that, okay, time, I don't have to wait a long time. If I get into the state, these events are going to happen, and my specific person could fall in love with me in a week, in a few days, in one day, in 24 hours, in 12 hours. In the next moment, you could receive a message from your specific person, right? Because manifestation's kind of retroactive. Time technically doesn't exist. So the manifestation could create something that happened a week ago that you didn't know about, and then your SP texts you in the next minute and is like, oh my gosh, I love you. We should go on a date. Let's get married. Let's have children, right? That could 100% happen. But hopefully this is really making sense. And again, if you have any questions, leave them below. But when we are manifesting, when the bridge of events is occurring, it's not time. This idea that time has to happen in between you and your manifestation is what is creating this time in between. And if we assume the state, and if we know, like this right here, this whole video should give you a new belief that literally anything can happen, things can change overnight, can change in the next moment. Watching this video, you could get a message from your specific person. After this video, you could get a call from your specific person. Time does not have to happen. Time is irrelevant. If there's an equation of you manifesting your specific person and getting together, time is not involved at all. But really, I hope you really put yourself in that state of, okay, your specific person's manifesting you. What would it take for you to love them? You'd be like, oh, well, we'd interact. You'd think about them, right? It'd be all these things. But again, focus more on that. Focus on how getting into the wish-fulfilled state creates these things in your external reality, that bridge of events that it's going to seamlessly and logically bring you to your goal, right? But don't get this mistaken. Neville Goddard talks about this all the time. When you see all of these events kind of take place along the timeline, bringing you and your specific person together, it wasn't the date that caused it. It wasn't the text message that caused it. It wasn't all these other things. It was you changing your belief to the wish fulfilled. That's what created this logical line of events that leads you to your goal. But really, hopefully you're getting the main point of this video, because I don't want you to be worrying about time. I don't want you to be thinking that a long span, years have to pass for you to be with your specific person. Who is telling you that it can't happen in the next moment? Who is telling you it can't happen in the next day? Who is telling you your specific person can't call you and fall in love with you right now? Who says they're not falling in love with you at this very moment? Who is telling you that? And you'd have to say, well, it is only I that is saying that, right? So since you're the control of this reality, let's just switch that. Let's change our truth to that your specific person can come into your reality tomorrow. Your specific person can fall in love with you instantly. Literally, there's nothing, absolutely nothing saying the opposite. Usually, though, we end up accidentally falling into the trap of focusing on what we worry about rather than what exactly is that we desire. And again, this is a normal thing. So if you're doing this, if you're kind of putting a lot of your focus on things you don't like, that's perfectly normal. Everyone's going to do it. Just really attempt, don't ever blame yourself for this. But again, time has to occur. And if you kind of really rewatch this video, potentially, if you really need to kind of get that into your mind, because when you change that belief, again, manifestation, your internal thoughts, your internal beliefs reflect what is happening around you. If you think it has to take this amount of time, then it must take that amount of time. I will say a lot of people, though, kind of have this idea, like in their subconscious mind, manifesting their SP, they want a fairy tale, right? Sometimes manifesting the next day isn't exactly what you want, right? You kind of want that to play out. Usually very ambitious or very driven people kind of enjoy the process. And I would say no matter what, really enjoy the process of being with your specific person, moving in, enjoy every second, enjoy every date, because before you know it, you two are going to be married, you're going to have kids, you're going to be living the best life ever, and it's going to be these times right now that you're spending with your specific person that are going to be your absolute favorite. So we don't need to rush. We don't have to have that urgency moving to the end. Enjoy right now. Right now is going to be the absolute best. Like one of the main things I ask in a lot of my coaching sessions, and it kind of gets this idea going, if I were to snap my fingers and make you 80 years old with your specific person, your kids have kids, your grandparents, would you do it? right now, I could snap it, make you 90 years old. Would you do it? And you'd say, well, no, I wouldn't, right? You wouldn't want to skip you'd be like, well, all that stuff I skipped was all the good stuff. And to really enjoy, have gratitude and positivity for the moment, rather than trying to just skip to the end, eliminates that urgency, allows you to have gratitude, remain in the state in the moment, because trying to skip to the end leads to urgency, impatience, which all take you out of the state. But focusing on the now, having enjoyment, gratitude for the now, that puts you into that state, because you can't have gratitude towards something that you don't have. Gratitude can only be towards things we feel we have. But that's, hopefully this video helped you out a lot when it comes to kind of time management with that idea of manifesting an SP. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want one-on-one coaching or want to send me a personal question, head over to my website, kyleaugustcoaching.com. Also, check out my TikTok, Manifestation Man. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. I love bringing out all this content. I'm going to help you manifest in the quickest and possible way. But with that, I'll see you guys next time.